Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay,
we thought Hector Canedo-Sanchez's students were chanting his name in the courtyard after school because our cameras were there.
Yeah.
But no, he says this happens all the time.
And sometimes they do, yeah, with a fist up in the air and all, yeah.
Hector works at Bridger K-8 School in Southeast Portland's Montevilla neighborhood. He's a third-grade Spanish immersion teacher. This is only his second year in the classroom.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I feel like I'm able to connect with them on a culturally responsive level, and I am noticing that connection with all of my students, regardless of their background.
Hector doesn't hide his background at all. His parents brought him to the U.S. illegally from Mexico when he was 8 years old. He's been in Portland ever since.
I knew that I was an immigrant, but I didn't know that I was different.
The Portland Public Schools student got good grades and was in AP classes.
So I've had this picture in my classroom for more than 12 or 13 years. It's from Hector's graduation, and that was me in my young 20s.
His mentor and former high school teacher, Susan Anglada Bartley, says Hector's work ethic stood out.
Hector is the only student who I have ever had who actually walked from his house and said, I want to be at school on the snow day. He wanted to be there because he was really dead set on achieving this goal of being the first in his family to go to college.
Susan helped him achieve that dream. He received a full scholarship to Whitman College in Washington.
I mean, it was one of the most amazing things that happened. And like I said, Hector was the kid who opened the doors. I mean, we went through the process for the first time of finding out which colleges would accept a student who was undocumented and which would not. We figured that out.
Around the same time Hector graduated college, he became a dad to a daughter named Kelly. In 2012, Hector applied and got DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Through DACA, Hector could work and stay in the U.S. temporarily. He had to renew his status every 2 years. Hector and his wife were getting by, but things were tough.
The marriage was, not looking so good. I think there was just a lot of strain on the family from many different areas financially.
He said it all culminated to his lowest point in 2016, something he has not shared with his students.
So in 2016, I got a charge for driving under the influence, and that kind of started a series of events. Ultimately, I was detained by ICE.
The DUI triggered immigration proceedings. He spent a month at the ICE facility in Tacoma. He also lost his DACA status.
I definitely reflected on, like, whoa, I need to make this right again. Totally out of character, moment of weakness, and was really working hard to get that dismissal and make it right to the community, make it right to myself and my family.
Hector completed a diversion program and the DUI was dismissed. He got a job as a janitor, saved money, applied for DACA, and got it again. In 2018, it was Susan who told him Portland Public Schools was recruiting native Spanish-speaking teachers and he should apply at a PPS job fair. While he graduated college, he had no master's or teaching certificate, so he knew it was a long shot.
I was like, all right, so went there, had a resume ready.
But did you think, there's no way I'm gonna get hired?
Exactly. I was just, I had a dream and I went for it, and I humbly talked to people and just straight up said, hey, this is my situation, this is where I'm at, but this is what I want to do, and here's how I think I can do it.
Hector was eventually accepted into a PPS program where he could teach while getting his graduate degree. He's been at Bridger ever since, the same school where Susan now teaches.
To actually look out my window and to see Hector, who was very much that student, who the one I kept his picture in my classroom to inspire others for over a decade, to see him out the window with his class, see him giving his gift like that here in the neighborhood, oh, it's a true gift.
Looming over him this entire time, his deportation hearing, triggered by the DUI in 2016. Things are so backed up in immigration court, that hearing didn't happen until last month. A friend took these pictures before the hearing. Hector was surrounded by friends, family, and Portland School Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero.
I think it was important that I offer support for this young teacher
Who testified on Hector's behalf.
Here is a teacher who has lived most of his life here, who went through Portland Public Schools, who's a graduate, who went to college here in the state of Oregon, who has made a decision because of the opportunity he had in public education to devote his life to educating children in the same community. And I'm not going to stand with him? Of course I am.
Hector's attorney filed an application to cancel the deportation. To stay in this country, he had to prove 4 things. He's lived in the U.S. for 10 years, has good moral character, pays taxes, and that his daughter would suffer exceptional and unusual hardship if he was deported. The judge ruled Hector did not meet the 4th requirement because 7-year-old Kelly would live with her mother, Hector's ex-wife. The application was denied. The judge ordered Hector to be deported.
I was really thinking about just my daughter.
What would this do to your daughter if you are deported?
I can't even express in words how it's hard. It's difficult to think about. I don't visualize it.
His attorney has filed an appeal. There are going to be people who watch this story and say, you were DACA, you were charged with a DUI and you broke the law and the law has to be followed. And people will say, you know, you shouldn't be here. What do you say?
I honestly feel like my reality right now is one where I'm able to exercise my deferred action as a childhood arrival. I have all of the legal documentation to be able to work as a teacher.
He plans on teaching until the ruling on his appeal, which could take 6 months to 1 year.
I'm going to do what I can to make sure that my daughter knows I'm doing whatever I can for her.